Kathy was gorgeous. Her bare breasts were perfect, yet the situation seemed quite absurd. Alejandro tried to enjoy the opportunity that any man would have dreamed of having a girl like that in front of him, but for some reason, he felt neither desire nor excitement. He didn't even have to hide the man's stare. Far from being a sensual scene, it was one of sisterhood and even relatively comical. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Kathy told her with her dress stuck at her hips. "Help me get into the dress." "I don't know, what should I do?" "Pull." Alejandro didn't even have to think about it much. Vanesa took control of her mind and her actions and began to help her friend. Witness protection turned him into a girl. Chapter 8. One hand pushed the skin and while the other pulled and adjusted the dress. They managed to pass the hip, and they began to adjust the corset on Kathy's chest. After several minutes of effort and hands everywhere, when Vanesa finally went to adjust the corset, she realized that on one side there was a closure zipper. "And why didn't you open this zipper?" Vanesa asked Kathy. "Which zipper?" "Well, this one." Kathy felt the zipper with her hand and started laughing. Vanesa opened the zipper that allowed the dress to be raised, lowered, and perfectly adjusted without any effort, and the two laughed until they fell sitting on top of each other, on the cubicle bench. When they were able to stop laughing, Kathy was sitting on Vanesa's legs. They were face to face and for a moment, she thought she could kiss her. Alejandro didn't dare try it. The possibility of losing her friendship seemed more serious than breaking his cover. "Good thing you're not Dave. Because with the groping you gave me, something else would be happening here." "Pity," Vanesa said, continuing the joke, but recognizing that she now saw Kathy with more friendship than desire. The two continued laughing. Vanesa left the dressing room and continued walking through the aisles of the boutique until Kim asked her, "Do you already have your dress for the dance?" "No." "And you're not going to try anything on? What are you going to do when Brian invites you?" Before she could discuss the concept, the other girls had already put her in a cubicle with 3 dresses that she didn't like, but they said they would look good on her. A little reluctant, she tried on the 3 dresses, and to her surprise, one of them looked very good on her. It was a very simple dress, short and fitted, that she would never have imagined wearing. "How are things with you? Which dress did you like the best?" "I don't know. Maybe this one," Vanesa said from inside. "Let's see." Kim and Kathy opened the door to see her and for her to see herself in the mirror outside. Vanesa looked at herself in the mirror almost without recognizing herself. How could that girl be him? Was it the dress that gave shape to her hips and waist? Were those beautiful legs and boobs really hers? Her friends didn't know how to interpret Vanesa's expression. "You look beautiful," they told her. Vanesa wasn't sure if she really wanted a dress, but she felt good and she liked feeling so pretty. "Did you see any other dresses that you liked?" Kim asked her. "I saw one, but I don't know, I kinda like this one." "Well, try it on, girl." "How will you know if you don't try it on?" Vanesa just nodded. Kim accompanied her until they reached the one she had liked. Vanesa saw it and didn't have to say anything. Kim took it and they returned to the locker room. Once in the cubicle, Vanesa allowed herself to enjoy the process. She looked at the dress, took off the clothes she was wearing including the bra, she stood inside the dress, and felt the satin fabric as it went up her legs. She carefully adjusted it and closed the zipper on the side of the corset. At that moment, under the door, Kim slipped a pair of 3.5-inch stiletto heels that looked like they were made for the dress. "I think you're going to need these," Kim said. Vanesa couldn't help but get excited when she saw them. She adjusted her dress, and her hair, put on the heels, and left the dressing room. Her friend's reaction was enough to know it was the right dress. "You look beautiful." Vanesa looked in the mirror and simply enjoyed the moment. At that moment she didn't know if she wanted to go to the dance or if she needed a dress, but without a doubt, she felt better than ever. Pretty, attractive, and self-confident. She looked in the mirror knowing that she didn't want to stop feeling that way. You're going to take it, right? You have to take it. Yes. Vanessa answered without hesitation. Brian is going to go crazy when he sees you. Kim told her. Don't say that. I'm not wearing it for Brian to like it. Of course not. Kathy said in a feminist tone, we don't dress like that for any man. But if they pay attention to us and carry us to bed, then we can accept the additional benefit, right? Kim said. The three of them laughed while Vanessa tried to clarify. He didn't took me to bed. Don't worry, with this dress you will get there. They left the store with a dress each and Vanessa also with the shoes she tried on. They spent the rest of the afternoon trying on and shopping for clothes. Vanessa remembered the words of Special Agent Costello. You didn't like the clothes because you weren't a girl, but very soon you will enjoy this more than you imagine. Indeed, she was enjoying her day of shopping with her friends much more than she could have imagined. She tried on everything and bought blouses, skirts, shoes, underwear, stockings, and of course, her red dress that she didn't even know if she would wear. She was almost surprised to realize that 3 weeks had passed when they told her that she had to show up at the safe house on a Tuesday afternoon to sleep there and leave early for the court to testify. The instruction was specific that she should not notify anyone that she was going to miss school or do anything out of her routine. That afternoon, she put on her jeans and a cropped, asymmetrical top. As was customary, she put everything she needed for a normal day in her purse and left the apartment without being sure when or even if she would return. He had no idea how long the trial would last or his participation in it. Nor did he know what plans the government had for him or if he would have any room to negotiate. Everything was uncertain. If they were found guilty, they would never stop looking for him. In that case, would he have to continue living like Vanessa? Somehow that prospect was no longer so threatening, but she wasn't sure she wanted that life for forever. What would happen if the jury found them not guilty? They would still continue looking for him all their lives, but with unlimited power and budget, and in that case, the prosecutor's office could withdraw the Witness Protection Service. In that case, the best thing that could happen to him would be that they just kill him quickly. With these doubts, he arrived at the safe house. After the usual impersonal greetings, the agent asked Vanessa if she wanted to change her clothes before dinner. Without hesitation, she responded that there was no need. Dinner was nothing special, they had ordered KFC chicken and soft drinks, but for Alejandro, it was important to talk to the special agent and be clear about what would happen during the trial and after it. Ivan assured her that she had nothing to worry about, that there was no way of knowing how long the trial would last but that regardless of the outcome, the United States government would keep its word and do everything necessary to protect her. Ivan also explained that depending on the strategies of the defense and the prosecution, the days on which he had to appear to testify or the duration of the trial could vary and that until now, they knew that he had to testify from Wednesday to Friday and the first 3 days of the following week. So in those days, they would stay in a hotel near the court, guarded by agents 24 hours a day, so he could be Alejandro all the time. Vanessa did not react with the pleasure that Ivan was expecting. To tell the truth, she was not sure she knew how to be Alejandro for so long. Just said, "Ah, that's okay." Before going to bed they removed her hair extensions and she removed her makeup. He went to sleep wearing some shorts and a t-shirt that had been left on the bed. The next day he got up early and put on the suit that the FBI team had ready for him in the closet. The pants fit well and hid the curve of her hips well enough, but there was no way for the shirt or jacket to hide her boobs, which had continued to grow until they were almost a C-cup. He had to call Agent Costello to show her his problem. Wow. Where did those come from? I don't know. They have been growing. Okay, don't worry, I'll go get a sash or something to hide the man. In the afternoon or these days we'll see what to do with them. Ivan left and returned 15 minutes later with a sash that Alejandro had to wear under his shirt to hide his chest. With the uncomfortable sash squeezing his chest and disguised as the handsome young man he barely recognized, he appeared to testify. On the first day, after basic questions, the prosecutor asked him what his activities in the cartel were. Alejandro explained that he had started by simply moving vehicles from different cities in Mexico to Houston and that later, he had begun to be asked to handle deliveries within the United States. The defense attorney, seeking to reduce his credibility, only asked what his immigration status was in the country. On Wednesday, the trial, far from being what you see on television shows, seemed extremely slow and boring. By the end of the first day, Alejandro had spent hours on the stand and had contributed practically nothing of importance. That afternoon he left escorted by a group of police and FBI agents who took him to a nearby hotel to spend the night. The next day, once again wearing the sash under his shirt, he had to wait for the statement from one of the agents who freed the boys and girls in Florida. When Alejandro took the stand, the prosecutor asked him to describe the occasions on which he had made deliveries to that private address. The prosecutor asked him if by that time he already knew the merchandise he was delivering. Alejandro responded that by that time, he was pretty sure it was something illegal, but he never opened a package, so he didn't know exactly what he was carrying. They asked him if he recognized anyone related to those deliveries. Alejandro pointed out several of the accused and described their activity. He was in charge of the warehouse, he gave the orders and gave me the money, they were guards, they took the merchandise out of the vehicle and weighed it. The defender asked if it was possible that he was delivering something legal. Alejandro had to recognize that on those occasions, there was a possibility that everything was legal. That night they returned to the hotel feeling that nothing was being accomplished. All of Alexander's testimonies left room for reasonable doubt and there was still no leader in process. The assistant prosecutor explained to them that there was no need to worry. That the next day they would start talking about the governor of Texas and his team and that in other sessions they would give data that would overthrow the theory of reasonable doubt. Does that mean that all the risk of these statements is useless? Agent Costello asked. That's all for today. If you like this story, please comment, tell me what do you think should happen with Vanesa. Also, please like and subscribe.